call the regular meeting of the Borough Board at 7:08 p.m. We have Julie Rosenberg.
Oh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 2nd, 2025, and the special meeting of September 29th, 2025. Each member received copies for review.
Second motion.
Okay, any questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess approved the monthly reports of September. Each member received copies for review.
Second motion.
Questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We're gonna move expeditiously tonight.
Want me to read fast?
You're doing pretty good so far. So I'm just gonna go right to public comment so we can move things along. Is there anyone in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? If you're on Zoom, you can raise your hand, go in the chat box. Second call for public comment. Last call for public comment. None, we will move to item 7. What'd you say, Frank?
No, I'm saying that the owl wasn't going to the speaker, person speaking.
Pardon?
The owl wasn't going to the person speaking, it was aimed over there.
It moves based on sound. So depending on how much sound, like it's focusing right now, it'll end up on me.
While he was talking, never went to.
It's coming back. There it is. It's a little slow.
It was on Charlie and then it was on Kim while he was talking.
Well, is there anyone in the audience who can tell us whether they can hear us or not hear us?
But they probably heard it.
When you get to number 9, Deputy Chief North will tell us.
All right.
Because he's up.
That's fair.
No, he's not, he's just.
Well played.
Deputy Chief Norris on Zoom?
He is. And he is up at number 9. So when you get to number 9, you're going to hear it.
All right. Well, we're gonna go to number 7. And I'm gonna bring forward Paul Monco from the audience. And as you recall, last month we talked about doing something true Logitech style to be a finishing touch on our downtown project. Not necessarily a logo, but some historical designs and things that can be done to beautify and provide some local history to our downtown project. So Paul, you prepared something, why don't you present your thoughts to us?
Yeah, thank you so much. What would be the best way for you to share my screen?
Can you jump on the meeting?
Yeah. What's the guest password?
For the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
So. We'll see, what's the word message?
I love Drago, who's gonna cut that for that.
As a guy, He stopped. He didn't know when he was going to take a left. Yeah. Yeah. The signs, big arrows. I see all these people taking lefts. Yeah, big yellow sign, big arrows. Yeah, right. All right. That guy's license. I got no problem.
Awesome. So, yeah, thank you again, everyone, for having me. I did take some time to put together what I think would be a really great game plan based on the conversation that we had when I started during last month's meeting. And I just kind of wanted to walk you through what I envisioned for the process, what I envisioned as far as what, including the emblems and outside of the emblems in the road, I think would be really great for this as an overall historical walk project. Just get your overall thoughts and feedback on it, see if it's something you'd like to. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Naugatuck, live here currently, and I really specialize in brand development, graphic design, as well as brand storytelling and messaging. So my primary career is really focusing on design strategy. I've worked with companies, businesses, really all over the world, mostly the continental US, for the last 10 plus years. For majority of what I do, I serve as the internet marketing manager for a firm called Belmark, which was also started here in Naugatuck. And I've also served as lead brand strategist on a number of products for things like law firms, logos, things for medical facilities, and really everything across the board. But then some side stuff too. I also do own my own knife design company. So that's another example of something where I do all of my product work, my brand work, marketing, advertising, things like that. And then I'm also a musician and I play around town pretty frequently. I'll actually be at the station on Thursday. So.
Shameless plug.
You guys wanna come hang out?
That's a true musician right there.
So really the purpose of this project is to apply the finishing touch to the roadwork that we've seen downtown. So creating a unified design system for the historical walk, highlighting historic landmarks through custom design crests that we've currently installed around town. So there's also a big piece of this that will help engage the community, promote local businesses, and attract visitors downtown. And I'll get into what each one of those pieces of the collateral are as well. I did a little bit of research to see some examples of other historical walks that were successful in different places. Two of the ones that I saw that I thought were really great was one that is pretty local, the New London Black Heritage Trail. Over 30 historic sites in New London were marked by bronze placards, each one celebrating a specific place and location of their history. That's something that they have done, again, to really showcase the unique history of that town, but also be forward-thinking. Another cool example is in Salisbury, North Carolina. They have a history and art trail. And this is one that I wanted to include because I think it's really interesting that they were able to start with something similar to what I'm proposing today, but it's evolved over time. And now they've started to bring in an art commission, there's different murals and things that they've done around town that all relate to this historical walk. So I do see this as potentially being a first step to something bigger and that can include a lot more about the history that Knox has. So the main things that I would hope to achieve through a project like this would be pretty much grow through need, right? So trails and heritage walks can generate millions of local spending and tourist revenue each year. People are very interested in history and giving them something that is actually tangible that they can hold and go visit on a regular basis. Is a great way to bring people in, again, and just see what the town has to offer. Also, businesses near things like trails and historical walks tend to have upticks because of that increased foot traffic. And then also public art and historic markers strengthen community pride and local identity, which I think is very important. Visitors stay longer and spend more time when they're able to explore a little bit more, especially with the introduction of things like collectibles, which will be really relevant to businesses and that we'll be going over. And then just visible investment in the heritage of the town to upgrade that infrastructure is something that is helpful for things like grants and sponsors, future revitalization, because they see that we're making that already. So the process is going to be broken into 5 pretty standard steps. There's research and planning, concepts and presentation, revisions and finalization, and then the supporting assets and finally distribution. So my vision for the research and planning stage would be working with a committee to decide exactly what the 3 locations are that we want to prioritize for this historical walk, where we want these quests to go. And then also figuring out if there are any other themes or concepts that we want to throw into the mix before we actually get to designing those initial quests. Then we move into the concept and review stage. So I will start preparing those actual concepts, those press designs, and then present them to everybody who is involved in the project, and the board. And really just get your feedback on, is this the style that we want to move towards, or is this the overall direction we want to move towards, and then ultimately work on making those revisions so we end up exactly where we want to be. Once those revisions are finalized, that is essentially the primary approval for the main assets of the project. And from there, we'd be able to move into creating the supporting assets. So that's going to be the marketing materials that you're able to use to help promote and really get the word out there about this historical walk. Then the final stage of this would be distribution. So the next slide showing the deliverables, we'll want to make sure that a lot of those assets are being delivered to local businesses. We want to make sure that the advertisements that are created to promote that are properly shared on social media. So that'll be a big piece of that kind of initial push to get that out there. These are the deliverables that I thought would make the most sense. And I'm completely open to anything else that anybody has as far as ideas. I think there's a lot of really cool potential with this. Of course, most important is going to be those 3 crest designs, and that's going to be what's actually put into the road so that, those are kind of our reference points. Number 2 is going to be a map design that is something that's printable. It's able to be offered at the historical society or any business that, again, wants to support that piece of the project. And then a brochure design, which is going to include the map, but be a little bit more in depth. So that's kind of where we'll be able to actually put some written information about each of the places that we have on there, just make it a little more historical story. And then for the marketing side of things, a couple of things that I thought would be really great would be sticker designs that we can give to local businesses, something that is most likely a more detailed version of what is put into the road. There are detail limitations for a project like this because of the nature of how they're manufactured, but we could take that drawing and turn it into something that is a little bit more detailed and colorful for collectible stickers. And also, since they are going to be circular emblems, I thought it'd be really cool to do coasters that are based off of those designs that are essentially a reflection of that. And again, we can hand that to businesses that are, whatever you're nearest to, and they can hand this out to patrons and maybe have a QR code on the scans and give some information about it. And then the last piece of that would be 5 social post designs, and those would essentially be something that everybody would have access to who's involved in the project. So as soon as we're ready to start promoting it, we have something that says, hey, here's where you can get this information, here's nice photos of them, here's nice design graphics that are shared to us. There's a lot of ways we can distribute that on groups on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. This photo on the right is a quick mock-up, just again of kind of what they're essentially going to be like in the road, but this isn't an actual illustration. We'll come up with something that's a little bit more engaging, a little bit more interesting. That will just have a quick generation. But this is essentially the investment breakdown and how it works out. It's going to have 3 crest designs, the map, the brochure, 3 unique stickers, 6 unique posters, and then 5 unique social posts that are each year. As a full package, again, the idea is to create something that is engaging from a visual standpoint when you're just walking down the road, but also have everything we need to kickstart the initial promotion of this meeting.
Is that about 6 feet diameter, that seal the road?
Yeah, exactly. I think Roger said it's about 6 feet.
And he has the ability to do that since he sort of has the market
Exactly.
of that process.
Yeah, we met with him a couple of weeks ago. I was able to ask him a couple of questions, and he's somebody I would be communicating with a lot, figuring out exactly what's going to be required in terms of file formats, what types of color limitations we have, and also, based on what the budget is for the overall project, making sure I'm not using too many colors. So I know every intricacy you add does add to the cost.
Is that a thermal print?
I believe it's done through pieces of, I think he said it was pieces of plastic or polymer that are put into,
Yeah.
Did you say how many colors?
He said, I think they have up to like 26 different colors technically that they could use, and it would just be a matter of what we actually want to use for our designs.
Is there a cost per color, I would assume?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I would
like you
imagine.
screen printing of the 3 or 4 colors.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Yeah.
If you go over 3,
Yeah.
it's more
Yeah.
expensive.
Exactly. And that's kind of where some of those other marketing assets come into play. Is, when it comes to like a poster print or a sticker, it's infinite colors, it's everything on the spectrum. So we could get a little more showy with that stuff too.
All right, questions or comments?
Looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks really good.
do you have a ballpark as to what one of those, that's a big pocket piece of ground.
I'm trying to remember what. Do you
What was your question?
what the cost was
Ballpark
per?
of the cost per those
I might
crests.
have it somewhere.
I don't.
What, the crest of the road?
Yeah,
Roughly $2,000 each.
I think that sounds
That's
right.
2,000? For a
That's-
6-foot?
That's the design cost?
That's the design.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Design cost?
Yeah.
So did he give you a general idea on something like that, if he produced that off of your design?
Just pulling up the notes that I got from that actual meeting.
No, it was great.
Remember the number off the top of my head, no. It was reasonable.
It was reasonable.
When we came up with the idea of 3, it was well within the parameters of the project. It wasn't gonna be an overreach.
Oh, it's the project.
I'm assuming the tunnel house is one. What are the other 3 crests that you're looking to do around it?
So that's what I wanted to have an open conversation about, because I do think there's something we can do that's cool with various different congregational churches. Really cool. There's a bunch of really cool history downtown that I think it's just a matter of which we want to prioritize.
View of architecture that is
Oh, yeah.
world renowned.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think there's a lot that we can do.
I think we just don't wanna do something that 50 years from now, people are gonna say, what the heck is that? You know, like putting a crest about footwear.
Yeah.
Right.
50 years from now, nobody's gonna know anything about it.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, it's gotta be something that's everlasting.
Yeah, and that's why I think having it be tied into specifically the architecture is what's
Yeah.
important, because that's what we know is gonna stick around. That is
Absolutely.
realistically what's most
Yeah.
notable is the buildings.
Those are tunnels, the Whittemores, yeah.
Yeah.
Hillside Schools probably one too, because that's like. It was designed by McNeil.
Yeah, the library, it's a lot of
The
good
library.
You have more architectural gems, you have spots. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
We'll leave that to a committee to
Yeah, absolutely.
decide which ones get in.
That's a good point. Say, well, we do our historical walk, yeah, it's incredible.
It's a lot.
But the middle of the road, who's gonna see it in the middle of the road? Am I gonna stop my car and look, or? I'm
Second,
just
the sidewalk.
questioning why the middle of the road.
So I believe the idea was for them to be put specifically in places in the street, where you'll be able to see them from the sidewalk. That was also a thought that I had too, and I do think it might be worth investing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it is something where we also did want to put something, like a placard on the side of the road as well, the sidewalk, that's kind of, just parallel with it.
Sure.
I do think that could be helpful too, but they're pretty big.
Yeah.
People park on that.
Eventually make it a place.
I did find my notes here, so he said they're 3 to 4 feet diameter. Yeah, so a little bit smaller, but he could make them as big if we want to. He's done things that are like entire sidewalks that are small made of material, so it's kind of whatever we want to do and whatever the budget allows for. We can do.
Well, personally, I think 3 feet is too small.
Mhm.
And I think 6 feet in a large road is an adequate size, so.
Mhm. No, I could see that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely worth, conversation. Because luckily, since we're doing a square, anything that I create will be able to scale to any size.
Yes. I think the other thing too is longevity of that particular print that's gonna be in the road. I mean, is it 5-year, 10-year because of the way it's made?
Yeah, let me see if I had that here as well.
It might be oil dripped onto it.
Because I do remember we specifically asked if it's able to be prepared,
Yeah.
or repaired, rather.
Yes.
But he said they're pretty much indefinite. Sometimes there could be like cracks or things that happen, but you get just individual pieces in place. But I can get more information about that.
Do you know, is this perfectly flat, or does it have any indentations where the letters are, or?
Yeah,
It's completely flat, it's supposed to be flat.
And the reason why we're doing Middle Road, too, part of the discussion was that that's where the material will work.
Yeah.
We can't put it on the sidewalk, we can't put it, it will work, and we're thinking about the one-way street. So even the perspective of having them all facing one direction, people are going one way down that street, so it would make sense seeing it there. And trying to select locations where probability of ever digging up would be minimized was something that was discussed as well, that puts it together like ripping it up.
Yeah, exactly. So I know specifically said corners are bad because of the turning of the tires and stuff. So we want to make sure they're not straight roads.
Also, you gotta remember, in 10 years, the road might have to be sealed. There might be the utilities that have to get under there. Who knows what happened? As long as it's easily removable and resettable.
Exactly.
We did ask them, I don't remember exactly, we didn't seem to think it was an issue. Other towns have pointed out that it actually.
If it's flat.
Well, it just show it. Behind.
Can you make it light up?
That would be cool. And then it looks like when we had that conversation based on the notes here, it's per the actual manufacturer would be most likely cost me $8,000.
So we're gonna wanna create a committee. I'll just give you an idea. When we did the mural, there's too many people. So I think I'm not gonna, preclude anyone from being on it who wants to, but you have too many people, it gets quite complicated.
Yes.
So we don't have to decide tonight. I think tonight we just want to say we're gonna go forward with the project. And cost parameters seem fine. It looks like it's about 15,000.
Exactly.
So we can make a not to exceed number to start, reevaluate as we go. Anyone who wants to be on the committee, should make that known. Maybe some other community members, historical society.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Include them.
We have an instructor in adult ed who always does our historical walks, and she said when that committee is ready, she'd like to meet. So I'll give Paul the name.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for Paul? All right, I'll entertain a motion that we proceed with Marco Creative to start working on the proposed Naugatuck Historical Walk and Logo project. There are some not to exceed 15,000, which will come from TIP funds.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to
Yeah.
work on it.
Good stuff.
Okay, okay, we will go to Ken Hanks with a Naugatuck Ambulance Corps monthly report.
Kyle has his kids down at the house this week, so. The Naugatuck Ambulance last month, 406 calls, mutually about 39. Waterbury, Middlebury are our largest mutual aid customers. Right now, Stephanie Seymour. Whatever the falls prospect, we've been in the area, not the Woodbury, and the time still. Kind of unusual because Woodbury's back up as Middlebury. Middlebury can't build them up. So quite a substantial delay. The ambulance is in service, new one is on order. We're looking at increasing staffing. We're starting to put paramedics on the ambulances, so our days we have 2 paramedics working. One in the fly car, one in the ambulance. Resources, so that's something that we have a board meeting on Friday, so we'll be discussing additional staffing. Growth as we come into the future. Since things are doing well, we've had some pretty critical calls. We have some pretty good saves last month. They're motivated, they're engaged. We're fortunate to have the same message.
And it's bursting at the seams.
Yes, it is. Physically.
Ambulances are gonna have to be kept outside, so they're gonna have to be plugged in for the winter.
Yes, that's how. Yeah, this is what it is.
But I think the new ambulance building will be ready by next summer. Yeah.
The one ambulance that's sitting out,
Yeah.
there's one ambulance that's sitting out next to Blossoms, and that is actually we're in the process that's being donated to the search team. That's we're going to get that transfer.
We will proceed to item 9. Municipal school bus violation enforcement system. Deputy Chief North is on the line and will report back to us on your findings.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, okay. Won't take up too much of your time. We're not ready, or you're not ready to vote tonight. Since last meeting, and I apologize I'm not there, I've been running around for kids sports all night. Since our last meeting, Burgess Gallo and I met with Superintendent Cooney and Board of Ed Business Manager Bernice Risk. We got a very good insight as to what the Board of Ed's needs are. They pretty much told us they don't need the in-camera buses. The contract that we have with the bus company, or that they have with the bus company, covers all that. They have to give in-camera buses, and they like the system they have. They're very responsive, especially when they need video and they need it quick. So we don't want to mess with any of that. The other thing I was able to do is Shelton, City of Shelton just went live with this program. I was able to obtain their contract, and I was able to obtain a copy of what our contract would be. Bus Patrol was able to draw me up our service agreement. I passed this off to Tim Fitzpatrick about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. He has not gotten back yet, so I'm waiting for his report because I am not an attorney. There's a couple things in here that I did notice. There is a termination fee, and it goes by year. So if we terminate in year 1, if we don't like it, there is a $2,500 fee, and that drops every year. So there's a termination fee, and there is a fee, obviously, to Bus Patrol every month. But I'm waiting for Tim Fitzpatrick to get back to me on this, to let me know, and maybe he can even present next week as to what our contract would be. But like I said, Kim and I met with the Board of Ed. I think they have some hesitations. They don't really need, like I said, the free in-bus cameras that they would be providing. So that's where we are now. Nothing's really changed. I'm just waiting for, once Tim gets back to me, I think we'll have a good idea of if there's any caveats in this that we weren't sold on.
All right, do we have any questions for Deputy Chief North?
Well, yes, I have the same comment I made the last time. I just don't see the need. I mean, by the way, I was on the Board of Ed, the cameras were installed, they were working, and it sounds like they're still working. Again, it's a solution for a problem we don't have.
And just to remind you, or to refresh your memory, I think, Kim, what was it, 2013? We tried this with another company, Deputy Chief Berner at the time. We had this for, I think they told us about 6 months, and the company actually pulled out because we weren't generating enough revenue for them. That was about 12 years ago.
That's the data that they had. And I mean, you don't see an uptick in bus problems, not inside the bus. I'm talking about outside the bus.
No.
At the police department, you don't see an uptick in that.
No, I'm sure, like we discussed, and I talked to the deputy chief in Shelton. They were kind of surprised as to how many they had the first month when they went live, but they were having acute problems on Bridgeport Ave and some of their city centers that drew them to this. So it was more than they expected in the first month. I'm sure there's just bus drivers not reporting, but they were having problems at more than one location across the city already.
Right,
That's a whole different area.
I guess
Yeah.
the question is there a need to really continue to pursue this? Since the Board of Ed is happy with what we have, and we're basically waiting on an attorney to make a decision, which, is it something that we just say, we're happy with what we have? You can answer that question, I guess, right?
well, here's the difference.
Okay,
The board is happy with what they have for the inside of the bus, which
Yeah.
is student issues.
Yeah.
And that's really important, that you have a company that's responsive and is, keeps privacy issues, intact.
Yeah.
This is to issue citations for people that pass buses and don't follow those laws. Now,
how many
we
issues
don't
do we have?
we didn't have any evidence that there's a serious problem with that in this community.
What are the bus
And
drivers?
what I was pleased by,
Yeah.
we had good evidence that drivers do report when people do it. They do report it, and I gotta tell you, having it be a civil offense, I don't really care for that. I would rather have the police department take care
Kim,
of
do
it.
we have anything from the bus drivers? Do they?
That's what we heard, was that the bus drivers feel that they have a good relationship, that they turn it into their supervisor, and, that it gets dealt with. So there was not enough outcry from bus drivers saying, we don't have any place to report it to. We did not hear that. We didn't hear any evidence of that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Let's
saying
do
we
this,
didn't.
we'll pass it for tonight, I'll put it on the agenda, we'll vote next month. If you don't want it, we'll just vote no. Whatever it is. Okay,
All right, thank you.
we'll proceed
Thank you.
to item 10. Right, on the facade improvement program, what we've done so far is we've sent the application, delivered most of them to all the businesses on Church Street. We're also doing, Rubber Ave and Maple. And, we've also given them some ChatGPT artificial intelligence suggestions. We've received 3 applications, probably 4 so far, and we will be getting more. There is some homework involved to do this. You've got to have a plan, you have to have quotes, so it's not something you can just snap your fingers and piece together. The building department, in particular, Heather, is the person who's sort of the key person keeping track of everything, working with the building department and our TIF committee will be the committee evaluating it, just like they did with the incentive grant program. So it's on track, and I guess one has been approved so far, that was approved right at the beginning, the tattoo shop. And we've got 3 or 4 more that we'll evaluate, and we will keep encouraging people. And I think that and hope that as things evolve and get better every week, every month, the more people who get involved, I think people will start getting the message. A lot of people say they're interested, but we've only received, I'll say 4 projects that are definite. Any questions or thoughts on facades? Okay. Senior Center update. Before I turn it over to Kim and Julie, I'll just say that we are in the process of hiring a part-time, I'll just say, supplemental program director and miscellaneous tasks to work to increase hours, increase programming, and make things better at the senior center.
And she's starting in November
November
1st.
November 1st, and it's in the budget. It's a combination of funds that we did not allocate from what was already there, and then we added to it. So the hours will be made to equate with the number we budgeted.
When is the work supposed to start for the grant
So
at the senior center?
we're, well, first of all, we're in the design process now of hiring a design firm in accordance with the federal specifications. So, it's a fairly lengthy process. It's federal money. Everyone says it's there, so we're moving forward. Questions? Do you want to add anything, Kim or Julie?
No, just that Jess is amazing as the chairperson of the board, you
She's
know.
done
She's
a
done
great job.
We had our first meeting, it was the first meeting with her, right? No, second, I think the first, second. You know, she's getting things to move along. Senior center is looking better, aesthetically, and she's pushing, so it's great.
And the interview process went very well. The person that was recommended to you, one of the highlights of the interview was that this candidate had served in a capacity of bringing another older institution forward, a veterans, whatever, VFW, that's what it is. Two Marine sons are gagging somewhere, they don't know why. So she was a part of this renewal process, and it was a VFW that was not being attended regularly. A lot of people were smoking in there, it stunk, it wasn't clean. You know, they were doing the same old things every day, and she was a part of bringing that along and that process. So when she explained that process, it was very clear that this would be a person that would be ideal for this sort of task. That kind of, okay, we've gotten a little stagnant, now what do we do kind of thing. So I was very encouraged by that, because hiring is difficult and
Should be good.
yeah, I think she'll be really good, and I'm excited to kind of bring this forward, because, you know, the people that have concerns have been waiting for a long time for something to happen. So it'll be good that we make it happen.
Good. Any questions or comments? Okay. Well, Northern development plans on schedule. Church Street will be done in October. The most exciting part will be when the lights are complete, the wires have been pulled, the new transformer is in, and we're hopeful. I guess this is a news flash for you, Andrew. We're hopeful that we're gonna be able to have a town event downtown on October 25th, where we will, there won't be a town festival, so to speak. It'll be turning on the lights with some music and an opportunity to get people together to come to the restaurants downtown and really feature our restaurants and downtown. So it's not a festival, but it will just be a good event where we can start featuring the lights. And the lights, I'm sure you recall, we were all involved in the design process, but they're not just rung lights, there are some that are higher in certain spots. The alleyway will be all lit up. So essentially, the alleyway and everything from Old Firehouse Road to Church Street will be in place. About 4 to 6 weeks later, the rest of Old Firehouse Road, the portion of Rubber Avenue, our new road will be done. Rubber Avenue will be done, and most of that work will be complete, we'll just say in November. So before the end of the year, as scheduled, everything should be done. And one thing I want to stress is I think it's critical, and I know everyone's on the same page, but we're working together on this logo project. Start bringing in the amenities. The facade program is better. The railroad station is being built. The apartments are built. And more people are living downtown. We have other amenities we're working on. We're beautifying the park on the hill, Old Olmsted Park, that you can see from downtown. So the beautification process is going to continue for years. It's going to keep getting better and better for at least the next 3 years. And the good news for the people who are upset is that the disruptive work is all over. All the work that remains will be done on private property, and the road network should be offset. So it's going to be a continuing project that will be exciting for everyone to work on. I'm sure we'll have more projects like the one Local Creative brought forward. We already have one mural. We'll have more murals. We'll have painting downtown. We're going to get ready, Jeremy. When are we going to start the new municipal parking lot downtown?
We started last week with the drainage, but it's not up this week.
Right, and then that alleyway next to the Loaded Goat is going to be a very cool spot with tables, and will be a very, very well lit spot. Planters are out there. The planters have a color that was picked by our landscape architects. There could be some discussion about painting some of those, but I think the idea is that as a group, we'll go slow. We'll start and just keep improving it as we go, and make it better for the next several years.
And some trees will wait till next spring to get that.
Some are going in right now, some will go in the spring.
They're gonna finish paving the current municipal parking lot. They've painted like an outside portion of it. Are they gonna complete that?
So Jim?
No, it's not currently.
No, it's not a project.
Okay, no, I was just asking because part of it was paved, so
You said painted or paved?
paved. Part of it was
We would
paved.
have to visit that to pay it internally. It's not part of that project.
I got you.
Well, it doesn't, I'm gonna say this, if it needs paving, we'll pave it as part of our town paving project. But, it was in pretty good shape when we started to
Well,
look at it.
Bob's talking about they paved that lower section, so that's where they made conduit land as part of the project. They paved that firehouse roadside, yes.
Yeah, they paved the,
Where they did all the work.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But any questions? Oh, also, our phase 1 of industrial part 3 will also be done in the same time frame. So in fact, some of the paving has been done. The rest will be shortly. The storm, the 6-foot storm water pipes are all in the ground, electric, gas. So the utilities are in for phase 1, and just going full speed ahead. And next year we'll be working on phase 2.
I had a question about the restaurants and so forth on all the new areas that we've done. If they set up tables outside and have food service outside, does the town charge them for use of that property?
Yeah.
Okay, good, that's good to know. I was saying, if they did, that might be something we might want to consider waiving for a while, at least till the business get their feedback on their sea legs back. Great, that's good gear. I mean, that's, I think, is gonna be the key. If we get buy-in from the current businesses down there to make sure that they can encourage people to eat outside,
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a big draw.
We always do that on Maple Street. Yeah.
So Maple Street, we're gonna finish by the town hall, on Dudley's first, and then work in the middle. So we'll take care of the businesses and the green area, and then the last thing to be finished will be the areas in between those points. Also the Maple Street.
Is there a time frame on the mural being painted?
There is, I don't recall what it is.
I think the mural issue was, the biggest problem that they had to work through is the, on the underpass there. The actual material that's there, there's some issues they're gonna have to rethink on how they're gonna be able to do things, because the way it cracks and comes off, so, and they were always gonna wait until Maple Street was done before they did it, because they didn't want to put something up there, make it accident damage by a piece of equipment, or whatever, so that's been put on hold, so Maple Street is,
So
completely
probably spring.
at best, yeah.
All right, any, questions? All right, item 13, TIF grant program phase 2. So, we know we're proceeding to the next phase, which is mostly Rubber Avenue. I don't believe that we allocated a dollar amount. Do we want to have a not to exceed number for the same number we had for Church Street? Now remember, Rubber Avenue is a little different because some businesses were impacted much more than others. And it's a longer area. There are people even that are in the TIF district, but they're past North Hoadley Street that claim they were impacted, and they probably were. So I think that what we should do is pick a dollar amount, which will come essentially from the interest we earn in the tax incremental financing funds. It takes a circuitous route to get there to follow the proper accounting standards, but that's essentially where the money's coming from. Is Eileen here?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, that would be.
Okay. So you have to do a transfer to make it work in accordance with. But do we want the number to be the same for the pot that we're going to distribute? Same way we did.
Yeah, I was thinking though, so you're saying that Rubber Avenue has more property or more impact, so I'm thinking, what was the square mileage of the Church Street based on the amount we put aside for them, and then maybe do some kind of a rough calculation for that?
It was Church and Maple,
Yeah,
but there's really not much
Yeah.
in Maple.
so it would be Rubber, so if it's a greater distance or greater number of places, we might want to think about increasing that from the original.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to me, Rubber Avenue is harder to evaluate than Church Street. Maybe because I'm on Church Street 6 days a day and I saw it every day, but on Rubber Avenue, you could get to most businesses, but not all the time. And some spots are much worse. You know, the intersection of Rubber Avenue and Church Street got hammered. Up by Pond Street, you know, they got hammered. So there are spots that are much worse on Rubber Avenue than other spots.
From Cherry to North Hoadley is an area that got smashed. Now, how many businesses are there in relation to Church? Because everything is spread out over there. It's hard for me to believe that anything above North Hoadley towards Mount View Plaza because they got all the traffic. And did some of them lose a little business? Maybe, but
Because nobody wants to sit in traffic.
I can't see how they took a huge hit, quite honestly, when they had a ton of cars going by those businesses every day. I'm just,
I understand, I think you're saying the same thing I'm saying, it's harder to evaluate Rubber Avenue for me than Church Street.
But a lot of the detours were Andrew Avenue and Scott Street. So from Andrew Avenue to the center, that's where it was most impacted.
yeah, from North Hoadley down to Cherry, they got smashed. Absolutely.
Up there.
But then, you've got the ambulance there, you've got IBS, so, and then you've got businesses, you've got Silva, things like that. And then you got Ferraris and all those couple of little restaurants,
So on Church Street, we heard from a lot of people regularly, we work with them. On Rubber Ave, there were a much smaller number of people who worked with regularly, but there's a much bigger area, so.
I wouldn't go any higher than what you currently have.
And then we can reassess it.
That's all.
How much do we have in interest to work with?
Well, that's not the right question.
No? Because I don't know how much money we have before we start allocating.
Let's say this, we have enough to do the same amount we
Okay.
did for Rubber.
If we have enough for that, we don't have enough to do more. So we wouldn't do more.
But the interest is gonna go to other areas as well. So just on a broader note, Eileen, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we look at the overall TIF funding, downtown is very close to having utilized everything, maybe a little over, but the overage should be covered by the interest. But we're under in the industrial. So all the projects together are under budget. The downtown project is, let's just say, right at the projected number right now. But we do have some extra interest, and we could transfer funds from the industrial park back to downtown. Now that's an extreme overview, but do you agree with that, Eileen?
That's correct.
Okay. So, what was the number for tax incentive for Church and Maple, Eileen?
I believe it was 250,000.
It was $250,000, and it went fast.
250?
Yep.
Correct.
All right, why don't you make a motion, Charles?
Motion.
Want me to frame one for you?
I'd like to make a motion that we allocate $250,000 for sustainability grants for the Rubber Avenue corridor for phase 2 of TIF grants.
From the TIF fund.
Yes, from the TIF funds. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Just note that will be handled by the Tax Incremental Financing Committee. And I think I said it before, but I'll say it again, that it was a good process, and there were a lot of good people in the room, and everyone worked hard and tried to be fair. And not everyone was 100% happy, but at the end of the day, I think it was fair. All right, item 14, I appoint Carol Weaver, 53 Conrad Street, Unit 28F, as the tenant commissioner of the Naugatuck Housing Authority, filling the entire term of Susan Nastry, term to expire 1/2030. So Carol was recommended by Matt Erickson, the chairman of the commission. I met with her. She was very impressive, very well spoken, and I think she'll be a great fit. I also reappoint Paul Singley, who we all know, 34 Woodside Drive, as an alternate member of the police commission, term to expire 10/1/2030. Sounds like a long time for that.
Yeah.
He's young.
Yeah, he's young.
Oh, you want to do
He's
this?
fine.
Yeah. A motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess add to the agenda, a motion to apply to the Connecticut State Historic Preservation Office Historic Restoration Fund Program.
Second motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess adopt the following Connecticut State Historic Preservation Office Historic Restoration Fund Program resolution. Whereas it is desirable in the public interest that the Borough of Naugatuck will make an application to the state of Connecticut for an amount not to exceed $200,000 in order to undertake a historic restoration fund rent program at the Tuttle House and to execute an assistance agreement, therefore, one should be offered. Additionally, the borough will provide matching funds to this project in an amount not to exceed $200,000.
All right, motion and a second. Jim Stewart, do you want to, just very briefly outline what that would entail, or do you just want me to say it's mostly masonry and painting in the exterior of the building?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
You're fired.
Yes, I want you to.
Sandy, you did not.
Jim has his lines highlighted.
I never used to
So you,
He agrees.
Oh,
the state wants us to do the outside of the building before the inside, which makes sense. So that's what we're going to do. We have, the regular vote. All right. Any questions or discussions?
Doesn't mention.
No, it doesn't mention.
Let's do a roll call.
Why not?
Tim,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
I am yes. Roger,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Dorothy.
Yes.
But it's in.
Well, make it-
Megan is chair.
No,
She wasn't up there.
she hasn't been up there tonight.
Okay. All right, motion passes unanimously.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess approve the following vendors to continue to provide goods and/or services upon passage and through June 30th, 2026, and to authorize Mayor Hess to execute all contracts and related documents as recommended by Controller Aline A. Carnacchia as a friend.
Second motion.
Okay, so, just a preview, we're going to be, upgrading and modifying our improvement procedures with Eileen. And in time, in some areas, we're going to use the words waiving bids just to make sure we're in compliance with procurement, but there's some areas that can be clearer, I'll just say. And to make it more clear, we're working on some revisions that will bring compliance forward and the bill forward. Nothing dramatic, but it's just something that will improve the overall process.
A curious question. What is Seymour ambulance?
See where it was, they do a CPR in 19.
Oh, okay, cool.
They have a training association.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. All right, any questions on item 16? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I didn't do it. Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess waive the bid to the following vendors to provide goods and/or services for fiscal year 2025, 2026, and to authorize Mayor Hess to execute all contracts and related documents as recommended by Controller Eileen A. Kronachia as of read.
Second motion.
All right. Any questions?
I just have a comment. I'm gonna abstain from this one. And it has nothing to do with the controller. I wholeheartedly endorse her. If you're in that position, I endorse anything she says. Take that, as they say, as being Bible. And it's long overdue to have someone that cares about Monica, not just like about. I have to abstain for all the reasons.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nancy, note the abstention for the record. Item 18.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess waive the bid for the installation of the splash pad at Hopbrook Park to WF Anderson LLC, Old Mill Plain Road, Danbury, in an amount not to exceed $100,000, as recommended by Park Superintendent Sandras Lucas Romero.
Second motion.
Yay! Finally.
Good evening. So I was here a couple of months ago, to waive bid to Grasshopper Lawns for the installation. Unfortunately, we came across an issue with, him refusing to sign an indemnification of insurance, that all of our contractors signed with no issue. His subcontractor now has taken on the role of our general contractor, which is W.F. Anderson. I've gotten great references from him. He's a great man to work with. So we are just pretty much switching the name to it. They left everything intact with the pricing and everything. We're not gonna exceed 100,000. It was originally 68, now it's 85 because we've added some additional things. They had some change orders in there that we requested that they coded. I always leave it to not exceed 100,000 because when we're digging in the ground, we just never know what we're gonna find and what we have to change. But it's still 50,000 less than the other bidder and $80,000 less than the second one. And they were both on consortiums and on state contracts. So we're just pretty much switching the name of the general contractor for the project. He does fit all the insurance requirements and references.
So even though we're waiving the bid, we are doing much better than we were.
Yeah, we're waiting a bit because I don't have them on the list, but I did go through check, I do have quotes from the consortiums and the state bidders. So yes.
I mean, Grasshopper, we're gonna work on the project as a team, as it
Yes.
was.
It is, yeah.
And so Grasshopper didn't want to do what she said.
Yeah.
So Grasshopper asked Anderson.
Yeah, they work together, so
To
they're just changing.
flip the course, and he provided all the adequate stuff.
Someone has to be responsible.
Yeah, exactly. So-
Exactly.
And they're still gonna work together on the project, but Anderson's.
And he was very receptive, he provided us with a performance bond and all the insurance coverages, so. So, once we get approved, just to give you an update, he seems to think we could get this in before the winter, so that we can hit the ground running in the spring, so.
Full speed ahead.
So we're good.
You can have a nice
All right.
session.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sandra, thank you for taking care of the benches at Bree.
You're welcome, we did want to work on the second one this week.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess approve the bid for the 2025-2026 winter snow plowing to S&S Asphalt Paving, 680 Main Street, box 429 Southbury, as per bid as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart.
Second motion.
Jim?
So as we do every year, the borough went to bid for snow plowing services for contractors for the winter. Last year, we had 2 contractors, a total of 4 trucks. Jeremy is expecting that he only needs 1 contractor and 1, maybe potentially 2 trucks, depending on how things go. We did get 2 bidders this year. One of our bidders from last year didn't want to bid this year. So we're staying with the contractor that we have experience with, it knows the routes and is doing. And there's stipulated rates, so there's no change in cost depending on the contract.
And you know, stuff for those guys, insurance is a killer for those guys to snowplow. A lot of them can't see to make any money in doing it when they have to pay a crazy amount of money for insurance. That's half the problem.
Any more to do with the schools than we did before, since we've taken over the maintenance, or we already did everything before?
With the plowing?
Yeah.
No, they have their contractors still in the contract from last year. I think that would be something we have.
Gotcha.
So we provide the salt though to everything.
And assist is needed.
We work together and we'll supplement anything that's required.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor Hess to execute all contracts and related documents for the design of the Etna Street retaining wall with SLR International Corporation, 99 Realty Drive, Cheshire, in the amount of $134,780 with 75% funding from FEMA, as recommended by Public Works Director Jeff Stewart.
Second motion.
All right, so this is one of the more painful results of the big storm we had. But there is a problem on Etna Street. And Jim, okay, picture speaks 1,000
So
words.
this is Etna Street at Hoagland. And what happened is there's a gabion wall which are wire baskets filled with stone. And the stream obviously flooded and eroded the footing, foundation of it. And it slid down and rotated towards the brook. So what we did is we called the contractor, B&W, was working Rubber Avenue at the time, obviously, and did some work to try to make it safe temporarily. If you want to go to the next picture. What we did is we took off a couple rows of block, tried to shore up underneath a little bit so that it wouldn't fall over. But of course, we've got a very steep bank from Etna Street at this point, and the wall is still, as you can see, it's bowed and it's still in very bad condition. So we approached two contractors, SLR, or two engineers off of our on-call list, SLR and E&L, and got a much better price from SLR. We've been holding on to it for quite some time. Initially, we worked with FEMA. They costed out the project, I don't know, $300,000-$400,000 for the entire project. They said, we'll give you that. And SLR was saying it was going to be closer to $1 million project, upwards. So we ended up with FEMA. We do an engineering project, and that would allow us to design it, get a better estimate, and then go back to FEMA and get the correct amount of money.
So we go ahead, tell them the FEMA route and what we have to pay them.
So we have to pay at this stage 25% of the $117,000 for design. So $30,000 approximately.
And then they'll pay the construction costs.
75% of the construction, exactly. Once we have a design, permitted, survey, scour analysis, so this doesn't happen again. So it could be another $600,000-$800,000 next year that we have to budget for. Well, 75% or 25% of that.
So it's a painful project.
But I think
we have to hold up Etna Street.
It's necessary, because that wall could fall in the brook, cause more flooding. And that street were to fall in, that would be a lot more expensive. It's not a cheap construction project, because you've got to shore the bank up, you've got to handle all that water, and you've got to dig down in the water deep enough so that you can put a footing so that it doesn't happen again. Which obviously didn't do well when they built this thing.
When was that built, Jim? Was that from the 80s?
That was done during the famous bridge reconstruction.
So the 80s flood, right?
We blew up the bridges to make new ones.
Yeah, but I think we on top of the existing footing, so those were.
So the funds have been obligated through FEMA. We haven't yet received the check. We're starting to, but with the government shutdown, I don't know what the schedule is. But I'd like to approve this and hold on to it, so we're ready to go as soon as we get the funding.
No way out, right?
Roll the dice, but then if it falls, then it's all on you. Once we close this project, there's no grant program I'm aware of for retaining walls.
questions for Jim? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Public Works Director James Stewart to accept a fee in lieu of final road paving from Eversource in the amount of $783,266.22. Work completed on Barnum Court, Church Street, Cliff Street, Division Street, Elmwood Street, Fairview Avenue, Frederick Street, George Street, Hillside Avenue, Maple Street, Meadow Court, Millville Avenue, Park Avenue, Park Place, Pleasant View Street, Salem Street, Sweeney Street, Walnut Street, Walnut Terrace, and Winslow.
Second motion. Well done, Rocky.
All right, so Jim, are you happy with this number?
Yeah, I think it was very reasonable. Jeremy and I worked many months to try to get Eversource to see it our way and make this happen. So, no, we're good with this.
Really? Are you good with this number?
Yes, I am.
To make you sleep better at night?
I don't think so.
All right,
So this will go into the pool and get allocated as needed.
We're sorry, it's already, these roads have all been paved, so it's been
I
allocated.
was gonna say, it looks like they're all paved.
yeah,
Bills
yeah,
are coming in, so.
this goes back into the thing.
Yeah.
All right, any questions?
Julie, did you second the motion?
Yeah,
No,
I did.
okay, I didn't think I did that.
I did. Yes, I seconded, so well done, Rocky.
She did the pledge too.
2 months in a row.
Many of these roads also had water
There's a
fees that were paid previously.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor Hess to execute all contracts and related documents with Weston and Sampson for engineering services related to MS4 and industrial activities, including stormwater sampling, reporting, and permit compliance in the amount of $32,000 as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart.
second motion.
All right,
So we've used Weston and Sampson for 5-6 years. They've really been the only company that's been responsive to the required sampling and permit compliance and keep the county compliance with DEP's requirements for stormwater and industrial permitting for the garage, park department, the sand salt shed, transfer station. So I'm hoping that in the years to come, the Valley Cog providing the service will step up and take this from them, but see. And this is budgeted in the engineering department.
and again, it's a mandate.
Yes.
All right, any questions for Jim? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor Hess to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority and the Borough of Naugatuck for the establishment of the Development District as recommended by Director of Grants Daniel Bowie.
Second motion.
Okay, so if everyone looks at their handout, the circular map here, what you'll see is a half-mile radius of the train station. So this is consistent with transit-oriented development and the fact that we've joined this district, but projects within this radius are eligible for additional state funding, primarily for housing-related development activities, but other things are also eligible. So we will be applying as a town for funding. We're working on an application for parcel B, parcel A and B, and some surrounding areas. But it's not just for the town. Anyone who has a significant project within that area could apply on their own. So, for example, when I look at that circle, I see Central Avenue School that someday is not going to be a school. Connecticut Water Company is building up in our new industrial park, so they have a large building. Alderson's Funeral Home. So there are some larger buildings within the district that could benefit. So I think it's good for the town, and it's good for, potentially good for any project within that radius.
Anything that goes on Lewis Street too, right? Over here, Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Water Street, yeah.
Yep. So we'll also be essentially modifying the zoning regs. You see, what's unique about this to me is that most of the land area within the district is already built with houses. So there aren't that many properties that can benefit, but there are some, and potentially good. Questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor Hess to enter into a 2023 memorandum of agreement, Homeland Security Grant Program, as recommended by Emergency Management Director Kenneth Hanks as a friend.
Second motion.
All right, Ken, what do we have here?
This is a routine reauthorization for a grant. We receive approximately $15,800 a year from the state for Homeland Security and Emergency Management. This primarily goes to pay for the code red system, notification system that we use. Grant is a per capita, it's $10,000 per town plus a per capita. So that's $50,000. It's a routine food authorization. Yes, it's 2023.
That's federal fiscal year.
It's federal fiscal year, and they're always a year behind, so.
Everyone knows what code red is? What's the process of making sure people with cell phones
Well,
are.
glad you asked that, Pete.
Wow.
We've been working with Unsolved, Code Red Company, Sandra and myself, they've made a massive upgrade to their system. They're still capturing landline telephones, that's built into the database. But now you'll have an ability within a week or so to log on and add additional cell phones with different message notification. This is creating a company much more robust than it was before. It also allows us to start building predefined call lists. One of the projects we want to take on is our flood zones. We can build call lists for those flood zones. If we get another storm like we had, we can make targeted phone calls to just those areas. So someone is not completely flooded, they won't go. Make it a little more user friendly on our. Remember the launch codes you used to use?
Yeah.
No more. Yeah, they should. But you made it much easier to.
I feel like the president.
I was gonna say.
This is Mayor Pete Hess.
Case.
I hear it.
Yes, they made it much more user friendly for us, and there was no cost.
Any questions of Ken? Roll call. Roll call vote. Dorothy,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Rocky.
Yes.
Yes. Julie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Charlie.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Roll call.
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor and Warren B. Hess to execute all contracts related documents for a gas easement with Yankee Gas Services Company, DBA Eversource Energy, in connection with an easement situated on the easterly side of Cherry Street Extension, Naugatuck, as recommended by the Borough Attorney.
Second motion.
Okay, so this is bringing in a new circular gas system to industrial park 3. So among other upgrades, there will be more efficient and more gas available for the entire subdivision. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess to pay taxes on real property located at 64 Nancy Lane, parcel 013-4922, in the amount of $5,129.09. All liens will be extinguished for the sums owed to the Borough of Naugatuck, as recommended by Tax Collector James Scott.
Second motion.
Okay, so this is a mobile home, Riverview Mobile Home Park. It has no value. They paid, the 3 most recent years. This goes back to like 2009, but this is a unit that's being demolished, rebuilt. There'll be a new taxpayer with a unit that has value that will, be a positive force in the future. I can see a question coming from the right. The answer is yes. We're still working on that. Well, my great.
I was gonna ask you another question.
Was that wrong?
No, you're never. Are they gonna put a little house on there, or are they gonna put a,
Well, this will be a mobile home, but they are working on a project where about 22 vacant areas, could be, we'll just call them small homes as opposed to mobile homes.
Tiny
And
house.
they're good looking, they're cute. You know, in Naugatuck, we need housing of all types, and that's an area that I think would be very popular. I saw you rising. In the corner of my eye. We'll put that on my tombstone. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorized Controller Eileen A. Granacchia to refund the following tax refunds approved by Tax Collector James Goggin as a threat.
Second motion.
Questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have our second public comment. Is there anyone in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? No one on Zoom? All right, last call for public comment. All right, hearing none, we will go to comments. We'll start with Dorothy.
Well, what's next then? I went to the Board of Ed Community Forum. What was that, Monday? And there were not a lot of community members there. And I think one of the disadvantages is that the questions were only put on Parent Square. They were asking in advance for the community to review. So I had to wait because I didn't have the questions, but they did get some good feedback. So I think they're, you know, and in the beginning, starting to talk with some of the that they have. This is our last formal meeting until the election, so you know, I just hope that I'm back in this chair. But it's really been a whirlwind of change and movement, and certainly I've enjoyed everything that we're doing here, and you know, I hope I can continue on. So good luck to everybody.
I don't know, we're gonna have another meeting on that, so it's certainly the last regular meeting. Chances are, we get to meet one more time.
Is the next monthly meeting we move to Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
And I think we'll be seeing you again before. I'm sure, but.
All right.
Oh, got that at the end.
All right, here we go.
Interesting. Good luck to everybody in the election. And for all the new ones who are looking to get elected, it's a huge road to move forward and understand exactly what goes on in Waukesha. I've been here a long time. I'm hoping I'm back again. I told Charlie tonight, if I can't be in the top 9, I got problems, quite honestly. And that's just my opinion. I've been here since, not elected, but I've been involved since 1989. And then I got elected in 97, so I'm going for my 15th term. You know, that's a long time. And quite honestly, I've enjoyed every second of it. I think I've given a lot to the town on a ton of different projects. And I hope I keep my seat because there's so much more that we have to do and I have to do. And that's what the only time I want to go, quite honestly, is when I'm 6 feet under and I can't be here. But I hope I'm back again and good luck to everybody. Thank you.
I'll be sure to send flowers.
I hope so.
I attended the police department award ceremony. If you haven't listened to what our police department does, this was the place to listen. There are awards for meritorious service. There were so many awards given out. What our police do, I don't know how they do it. I don't know why anybody would get in that business. I don't know why anybody would go up to a dark car in the middle of the night and knock on a window. I just can't imagine. But there was an officer where a gentleman was holed up in his house with a knife and threatening to kill himself. And the officer talked him into dropping the knife. And it took about a half hour, but he talked him into walking out of the building and saved the life. These are the things they do all the time. There's teamwork. There was 4 or 5 officers recognized at one time because they worked together to get things done. There was officers recognized because they saved lives in medical calls. They got there quickly, whether it was an overdose or CPR was needed. They did what they had to do. It was very impressive. The respect to have for these people is absolutely amazing. Also, animal control was cited for a very long, detailed investigation they did, where some dogs were basically tortured. And they were able to get all the information that was needed to bring the person to justice. Everybody works together there, and I don't care if it's a patrol officer, the administration, the secretary, the people that repair and take care of the building. It's a team, and they all work in teams and get it done, and we just need to be so proud of what they do. Finally, it's been an honor working with you guys. Who knows what's gonna happen, you can never tell an election. But I'm privileged to have learned from all of you something. And I'm privileged to call Fred my friend. And I'm gonna miss you. That's it.
I was gonna say the same thing, Fred, because you were very helpful to Kim and I when we were running, you know, as far as what this was all about. We met with you a few times and Charlie, and really worked it out. I think for me, the last 2 years is just sitting here and learning. You know, it's a lot to take in. The construction stuff is very confusing, but I love working with the education stuff. I love working with senior center. And those kind of projects. Yeah, the trades have been great. It's going very well. And then the collaboration with Tom Donner down at Veolia. Am I saying it right? Okay. John Harris at the high school was great about getting new programs, so it's been great. Hope to be sitting here for the next couple of years. Doesn't have to be here, it can be anywhere. No, I can't read that stuff.
As long as you pronounce names, you can do this.
All right, thank you, Julie. Mike?
Yeah, I would just like to congratulate Officer Tyler Fredericks for receiving the MAD award, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It was a great honor for him, and he's a good friend of mine. So I'd just like to congratulate him, and then all the best to everybody in the upcoming election. All right, I just want to report on the Fair Rent Commission. It's still in its infancy is when you look at the long-term effects of most of our commissions in town. So they're still going through some adjustments and making sure they understand their role and what they can and cannot do. The compliments to the members of it, it's really an excellent blend of landlords and people who advocate for rent fairness. And there's great discussions that go on whenever they had to handle things. They are ironing out some issues like where the concept of eviction court versus the rent raises. And if your rent is raised and you don't pay it because you feel it's unfair and you're waiting for your hearing, what if they go to eviction on you? So there's some legal territorial things that need to be worked out still. They had an excellent meeting this month where they did work out most of those items. Excellent feedback from so many people. It's a really good group. They're still learning, growing, and adjusting. It was a pleasure being at that meeting to see that all in action. Another point I wanted to make up, and this goes towards our downtown development and the work we've done on there. We're gonna have a number of transformers, I believe, that'll still be exposed, like the one in the green and so forth. When going through Boston last month, they have, much like the mural project, and much like our seals that we're gonna be putting on the road, they use that as an opportunity, as an artistic expression. So perhaps maybe that's something we could work with the Arts Commission. Once everything is done, look at these transformers. Is there a way that we could paint the transformers? And they used them in many different varieties in the city of Boston. They weren't all one theme. It was a mixture depending what end of town you were in. If you were in the seaport, it was related to fishing. If you were closer to the Rose Kennedy Walkway, it had more historical perspective to it. So it would be nice to maybe consider that in the future as another way, one of those finishing touches. As we have taken something and made it beautiful, we're going to look at the other things that aren't quite as beautiful, to stand out more. So it'd be good to continue with that mentality of just using art to improve and make our downtown more.
I agree completely, and I would say everything is very good.
And of course, with the election coming up, it's been a pleasure to serve. I wish to, if the town wills it, continue to serve. More importantly than anything else, more important than getting elected, I'd really like to see our turnout go up. And I really would hope that everyone who's running, you have made a commitment to be there for your town and step up. It's not an easy thing to do, and I compliment all of us for doing that. At the same time, we should all push as hard as we can to let democracy happen in the most patriotic town in New England, if not the country. It would be a shame that we don't take advantage of the very right that those who served, fought, gave their lives for protecting. We really, let's make it 20% of our registered voters coming out to vote is not enough. We can do better. And I hope you come out, take advantage of early voting, take advantage of the election day, get out there, vote, let your voice be heard. I don't have to agree with your voice, but I do embrace and love the fact you expressed it.
Well stated. Jim?
I followed up on a conversation that we had last time about the chain of command for custodial. And I had a very good conversation with Melissa. And we talked about, what do teachers know? Charlie brought it to my attention that they don't really know what their process is right now. And she had just finished making a flow chart of what the new process looks like. And as we discussed it, she said, maybe what needs to happen is that the administrators at their next faculty meeting, they need to give a copy of this chart to every teacher and let them know. I also discovered that, like my former district, we have a system where teachers put in work orders for custodial. Problem is that in the past, they didn't always get responded to. Let me just put it that way. And what Melissa has done, and the teachers need to hear this as well, is every few weeks, she reviews all of the tickets that are in there and finds out what has happened, what hasn't happened, who's been assigned, blah, blah, blah. You can, follow what I'm saying pretty easily. So I was pleased about that, and I think that the transition to the town working cooperatively with the custodial staff and is going to lead to more faith. I think there were tickets that didn't get put in because teachers didn't feel like wasting their time if nothing was gonna happen. And I think that's a reasonable thing. That happens in any industry. If nobody's gonna listen to you, why do you bother? And I think that Melissa and the team is working hard to do that, and it was already in place. It didn't come from me, but our conversation, I think, strengthened the need for it. So it's important that we have these conversations and that we take these concerns that we hear about and do something about them, which is what we did.
I'll just say I agree completely.
I thought you
My
might.
only regret is I didn't do it 10 years sooner.
I wasn't gonna bug you about it then. But I am pleased about that. I like that, I like in this role as Burgess, when Pete talked to me about becoming a Burgess, he said, you can actually get more done as a Burgess than you can on other commissions because they're more ceremonial. And I could absolutely see the logic in that. It was interesting to me. Had no idea what we were getting into. Fran rescued Julie and me, who were, you talk about running, we were mostly running in circles, trying to figure out what on earth was going on. But we had some really good guidance, and we had some really good instruction.
Different coffee too.
Oh, yeah, we did. That's right. And breakfast. That's right. That's right. So, I think that this is a good group. There's a lot of different strengths in this group, and I rely on those strengths. And I want to continue to rely on those strengths. I look at this as kind of like a second act for me after I retired, because the passion that I feel for public service and for education did not dim with retirement. And believe me, I don't want to be a principal anymore. I'm fine. Let the next generation take it over. But I do like what I'm able to do and the experiences that I've had. And I also like that if I have a question, I know which one of you has that strength. And I can reach out and I will get an answer. So it's a good team. I think that when I was writing my thing for the patch, and one of the questions, I forget what the question was, it doesn't matter. And I said, I really try to live by the leadership adage that we praise in public and criticize in private. And frankly, that's not even about hurt feelings, that's about getting stuff done. Because I was gonna say a word I shouldn't say in public, just complaining about it or just criticizing doesn't get much done. But when you go in private and you have the conversations that I'm able to have as a Burgess, then sometimes things get done, and that's a good thing. So yes, I would like to, I'd like to do it again because, that's my own special brand of insanity. And I hope that happens. And I hope it happens with all the unique skills that happen in this room. So good luck.
Thank you. I would only disagree with one thing you said.
What'd I do?
We're not a good team, we're a great team.
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that one? How did I miss that one?
I mean, everything's done, we work as a team. There's no red, there's no blue.
Yep.
We need to learn how to teach those above us at the state and federal government.
Yeah,
I think it's true in many towns. And maybe what the country needs is to work from the bottom up rather than from the top down, because we have no trouble solving problems and working as a team. I'm proud of that. It's very easy for me when we have great people working together. So good luck to everyone.
Thank you. It's good to be a part of your vision. Just like That's right.
we will go to item 30.
Do that, huh?
It's gonna be, by the way, it's gonna be short.
Okay. Only short? Yeah.
9:30 max.
Motion to recess to executive session at 8:47 PM. Discussion on the following: real estate parcels A, B, C, Y, and Z, Nonotuck Industrial Park, Section 3, freight rail discussion, Hershey property, Riverview Mobile Home Park, collective bargaining, upsuit, and pending litigation.
Oh, second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're in executive session. Reconvene the regular meeting at 9:23. Rocky,
Motion to adjourn at 9:23.
Second motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait, go, people. See you in the big one.